a demonstration of the Great Cloud Basic port of the F1 Evaluation Platform demonstrator from Microsoft. What we've got here is a PCB, standard PCB from Microchip, and it's actually an LCD display, a switch, a pot, temperature gauge oscillator, and a 16F1937. And what it's doing is measuring temperature, RPM, and time. So what I'll do is just quickly take you through that. I'll just lift up the PCB so you can see it. Let's just reset. The first number we saw there, I'll reset it again. The first number we see is the version number of the code 9.0 something. Essentially what we're now looking at is temperature gauge. Temperature gauge is from the MCP 9800, and that the current temperature in the room here is 25 point something, 25.1, and that's coming from an MCP chip. What we've got here is a display. You can just about make out here that we've got an AC display, meaning that it's running correctly. RH tells us it's the temperature, and the K for Kelvin, and that's the same as the demonstrator code from Microchip. If I press the button, it will take me through to an RPM, and what it's also doing whilst I'm doing this is it's actually changing the LEDs, which is pretty damn simple. And you can see that that's coming through at a fair pace. That's an average. I've got it set as an average now. This icon here, the diode icon, you can see flashing occasionally. That's the timer, just to say that the timer is still running in the background. A clock is running in the background. We'll have a look at the clock now. This is the clock. We've been running 1 minute, and it's set to 6 o'clock AM. This is RC for real-time clock, and we can see that we've got the every second we've got a pulse from the timeout of timer 1. If I reset the clock, I can reset the clock by simply holding down the button, and that will take me through to the time it is. It's actually 12:45. Oh, 12:55. Sorry, I'll set that. I can do this by holding down the button, and it just runs me through the logic to set the clock. It's 12:55. It is 12:55. It copes with a full day. The cycles out on the day. And then so what we can do is we can select the time. We can press the button. We get the current temperature. If I hold my finger on the temperature, you'll see the temperature rise. And what I've added into this code, I've added into the code max and minimums as well. So if I hold the button down, I get that's the flashing between the maximum of 30.3 and a minimum of 25.1. So that's the coldest it's been in here. I'll just hold that down again. And if you look at the there's a little button here. The M button means that I've got the button depressed. Just tells me. And then here I'm using the M in kilo, and the ohm sign just to do minimum and maximum. If I go back to the pot, we can that's still running. Let me go to set that up like that. Go back to the clock. Oh, time has moved on. Excellent. If I hold the button down on the temperature, I can actually cancel the maximums and minimums, which wasn't in the original code. That'll take a few seconds. That will just cancel down. There we go, that's just cancelled those down. It's now got a maximum minimum of 26 and 26.1 and 2. RPM is 633 still, and the time is 12:56. It's a lot of work to actually port it, but it's actually working quite well, which I'm quite pleased. I'm using Typeform A display. I will port that over to a Type B when I've got a minute, but I actually need to run the project. I want to use this display on now, so that's the end of the demonstration.